we start by obviously the remembrance of today, right? The 20th anniversary of 9/11. And I think, it starts by my job is not just as the head football coach to win football games, but to educate young men, the 17 to 23-year-olds that, in essence, that are my responsibility. And so it started yesterday, just kind of talking to them about it. And a lot of them obviously weren't around or, have no recollection of it other than what they've been taught in history, what they learned from their parents. And when we talk about it, and, our thoughts and prayers are with all those that were affected by this. And we're so fortunate. I talked to our young men even pregame about how great it is to live in this wonderful country, and those that sacrificed for us, that paid the ultimate sacrifice, and those that continue to serve our country the right way. But those lives that were lost unnecessarily, but we can never forget. And I think it's important that our team understands that, and that the young men that I'm so very fortunate to have a part of my life, that we continue to teach them so they never forget as well for future generations. With that being said, look, they're all hard. I remember sitting down to the Zoom meetings last year and just telling you guys they're all hard. There's no such thing as an easy game in college football. We found a way at the end to get a stop. Was I pleased? No. And that's kind of what I told our team in the locker room. We've got a lot of work to do. And the good news is we've got time to do it, but we've got to hurry up and get a lot of things fixed. We can't have turnovers, right? We had an offensive turnover, a special teams turnover, and just too many explosive plays allowed by the defense. And we just got to continue to do things the right way. It wasn't a very clean game by us. And I pride myself, like I told you guys, on having a team that's disciplined and technically sound and being able to go out and play a clean game. With all that being said, look, it's a win, and I was pleased with a lot of things in this game as well.
Isaac and then Frank.
Hey, Coach, as you said in the opening, tough night tonight. A lot of big plays, giving up 584 yards, giving up in pass defense. What did you see out there tonight, and what did they do to give you guys so much trouble?
Yeah, no, credit to Arkansas State. I mean, they put together an excellent game plan. They got great football players. And there's, look, I just got done saying on the radio, close doesn't matter except for hand grenades and horseshoes. But we were really close on some of those passes that, man, if another inch, but neither here nor there, we didn't make the plays we were capable of. And the explosive passes, we've got to find a way to stop it. And, some remembrance of, UCF just giving up the explosive play. We can't allow it. They played a up-tempo offense. And, there's times where, obviously the turnover and the special teams put them in good field position and they held them to field goals, but we can't give up the explosive play down the field. It's just, it's not good. We'll put ourselves in a bad situation. And, it starts with a lot of things, right? The pass rush to the linebackers in coverage. So the DBs, everybody's got to win their battles, whether it's a one-on-one or zone coverage, just be able to make plays on the ball and not allow it. Look, I knew they were going to be explosive and do some things, but again, we'll always evaluate. We always evaluate personnel. We always evaluate scheme. And tonight will be a long night watching film, and tomorrow morning, make sure we're looking at exactly what we're doing to make sure we can execute at a high level, because we also know the opponent coming here next week is going to try to throw the ball over the yard.
Frank and then Evan.
Ryan, Seth had a big day, but specifically, what did you like out of him on third downs?
Yeah, look, it's kind of the same thing that I mentioned, Frank, before for him is I'm pleased with the way he handles the ball. Like I've said, a lot of these quarterbacks, even vets, right, will just throw it and try to make a play. But he's smart with the football, right? He tries to step in the pocket. We give up 3 sacks, but he owned the football and was great with it. Obviously, there was that 1 sack fumble. But I just think, the fact that he's so calm, cool, and collected. I mean, they gave us a variety of packages. They blitzed the heck out of him. He sat in there, took hits, and delivered the football. I think that poise, because a lot of quarterbacks, young guys, get gun shy, right? They see the pressure and they can't sit in there and face it. But again, didn't like the fumble and the sack, but that we were able to cover. But other than that, I just think he continues to find ways to execute our offense at a high level.
I know you said there's some things that you didn't like, you want the team to clean up, but how easier is it from your position to teach these moments after a win versus after a loss?
Yeah, Frank, that's exactly right. And I've said it, and I always will say this, my 23 years of coaching, it's so much easier to coach the guys hard after a win. And they know it. And they know tomorrow we're going to call some people out and some things that need to get corrected on film. And ultimately it starts with me, but we all got to look ourselves in the mirror and say, okay, what can we fix? Good news, and in a win, the guys have that coach mentality, and it's something we always want to have. But yeah, they will be receptive to it, and I think this team is a hungry team that understands what we're capable of, and that needs to improve and continue to work at it.
Evan and then Jeff.
Ryan, that said, I mean, the offense, you guys were able to get that quick strike going. You guys got Sean more involved with the offense. Were you at least pleased with just kind of how this offense was able to get big plays of its own and, maybe get Sean more involved as well?
Yeah, look, I was pleased with it. We know what kind of weapon Sean Dykes is. He's a fantastic football player, and there's going to be game plans. That's a great thing about this team game, right? Javon had a big game last week, and had a couple drops. Calvin was targeted more this game, and so was Sean. It just works with coverage, rotation, all that thing. There's going to be times, look, the team game, and I think nobody, like I credited Calvin last week with the big run by Brandon Thomas, for his blocking. And I think that's the great thing about this group on offense is that they understand it's going to take a lot of different helping hands to get this thing going. But guess what? I guarantee you ask any of our offensive players, whether it's Calvin or Seth or Sean, is there work to be done and there are things they can improve? And they would say, absolutely. And that's why I love about these guys. They're going to be hungry. They're going to be just as hungry tomorrow when watching this film and critical of themselves to know, man, what happens if I did this differently? What can I do to do this better? And when you have those type of young men on your team, you feel very fortunate.
And last for me, Morris Joseph didn't play today. What's the update on his status?
Yeah, he had an injury. He was day to day, and it was a game time decision that he wasn't able to go.
Thank you.
Jeff.
Hi, Ryan, Jeff. In terms of putting up these kind of numbers with a true freshman quarterback and a redshirt freshman running back, your thoughts on that? Last year, obviously, particularly at the end of the year, you weren't as explosive. It looks like you have some weapons here who can do some damage in the years to come. Yeah,
look, I'm pleased with it. Brandon Thomas really didn't even play for us last year. I think if I told you guys to pick him out of a lineup, I think you guys would have said, who's that? But I mentioned that, we thought he was had a bright future here, and I think seeing a lot of that in spring, Jeff. And, the great news about these guys is when you guys have the opportunity to continue to get to know Seth and Brandon, they're young guys that get it. And when I say that, they know, look, they've just scratched the surface of what we're capable of, and they want to work to get better. And that's why I appreciate it. But yes, Jeff, it's great. We have a great balance of guys, right? We got the vets, and Calvin and Sean, and even Weaver, right? That we can trust to put in there. Drake's that middle-aged guy that we always say, Rodriguez Clark. But, we've got that good mix of young and old, if you will. And I think it's a perfect balance. I think that, and guess what? If I'm a true freshman quarterback like Seth and I get to look out there and see Calvin Austin out there, it probably put my heart a little bit at ease, and they've been able to connect the right way. And we're just so fortunate because I mentioned to them in the locker room, I said, we care about each other and we're going to continue to battle. But to be able to have those young guys have those weapons, like you just mentioned, Jeff, around them certainly helps us.
Is there a throw by Seth that particularly impressed you tonight? Like as you think about him, was there anything in particular?
Yeah, so he stood in, there was a pressure that occurred, and those linebackers came downhill. And he stepped up and just delivered the ball perfectly on a third down and was able to throw a strike. And to me, that says a lot about a quarterback, because you've seen 22-year-old vet quarterbacks that see the pressure coming, they immediately fall down or they can't step forward. Man, he just sat there and bright-eyed and just said, all right, here we go. I've got to deliver this pass. I know I'm going to get hit, and was able to do that. But, I always say this, some of the best throws are the throwaway ones. And I will continue to say that. That smart decision-making, for a quarterback, that's as impressive as anything I can watch.